When my sister Naomi called me late at night, pretending like she cared about my breakup, I almost believed her. "Clara, how are you holding up?" she asked, her voice soft and full of sighs. I told her about the empty apartment, the quiet nights, and how I missed having someone around. She hummed along, saying all the right things like, "You deserve better," and "I'm here for you." For a second, it felt good to have her listen. I'd always been the steady one, the 34-year-old marketing consultant from Ohio who kept things together, while Naomi, at 30, bounced from job to job, charming her way through life. Mom always said she needed extra looking after. I thought maybe she'd grown up. But her questions dug a bit too deep about my work, my friends, even my savings. "Just curious," she said. I brushed it off, glad for the company. We talked for an hour, and I hung up feeling a little lighter. Little did I know, her care was the start of something much darker, a setup I couldn't see coming yet. Just before you continue to watch, Feminine Revenge would like you to subscribe to this channel and like this video. It would encourage us to keep this streak of thrilling revenge stories for you to watch. Alright, back to the story. The next day, Naomi showed up at my apartment unannounced, carrying bags of takeout from my favorite Chinese place. "Surprise! I thought you could use some sister time," she said, hugging me tight, maybe too tight. I let her in, touched by the gesture. We sat on the couch, digging into noodles and spring rolls. She asked about everything. My job at the marketing firm, how much I had saved up after the breakup, even my plans for the future. "You need to think ahead, Clara," she said, her eyes flicking away when I answered. At first, it felt like real concern, like she wanted to help me rebuild. But something was off. Her smiles seemed forced, her questions too pointed. Why did she care so much about my bank account, or if I was dating again? I pushed the doubt down, telling myself I was just paranoid from the breakup. We laughed about old times, and she left promising to check in soon. As the door closed, a nagging feeling hit me. Why all these details and why now? It didn't add up. This wasn't the first time Naomi had swooped in during one of my low points, pretending to care. Back in college, after a bad breakup with a guy named Jake, she helped me by listening to my sobs and bringing ice cream. Weeks later, she accidentally started dating him. I told myself it was just coincidence, that she was young and immature. Mom always said Naomi needed extra looking after, so I forgave her. But now, as she sat across from me in my apartment, nodding with that fake empathy while asking about my savings and job, the old memory hit me like a slap. It flashed as a warning sign, bright and clear. Her charm felt too slick, her concern too scripted. Why was she digging into my life again, right when I felt weak? I pushed the thought away, but it stuck like gum on a shoe. As we finished the takeout, her smile seemed sharper. I started to suspect her motives weren't pure, that this sisterly love hid something ugly. That night, after Naomi left, she accidentally let something slip in a text she sent by mistake. It popped up on my phone. Well, at least she doesn't know yet. I froze, staring at the screen. Who was she? And what didn't I know? She quickly followed with "Oops, wrong chat. Meant for friend," and a laughing emoji, but my stomach tightened like a knot. It didn't add up. Her visit, the questions, now this? My heart raced as I paced the kitchen, replaying the day. Naomi had always been good at covering tracks, but this felt off, like a crack in her perfect act. I poured a glass of water, trying to calm down, but my mind spun. Was it about my ex? Or something bigger? I excused the slip in my head at first, but doubt grew like weeds. I decided then I had to start watching her more closely, dig into what she was hiding. No more blind trust. If she was playing a game, I'd learn the rules. I decided to test Naomi to see how deep her fake care went. Over coffee the next morning, I casually mentioned I might move to Chicago for a new job opportunity, something I invented right there just to gauge her reaction. Her face twitched, a flash of panic in her eyes, but she covered it fast with a big smile. "That's great, Clara. You deserve a fresh start," she said, her voice a bit too cheerful. But I saw her fingers grip the coffee cup, so tight her knuckles turned white, like she was holding back a scream. Why the worry? If she really cared, she'd be happy for me. Instead, She started asking questions about when I'd go, how I'd pack, even offering to help find apartments there. Her eyes darted, like she was calculating something. It hit me then she wanted me close, not far away. Whatever game she was playing, my leaving would mess it up. I smiled back, pretending everything was fine, but inside, my mind raced. Her secret, whatever it was, needed me right here. And that made her dangerous. Days later, as I scrolled through Instagram, an anonymous message popped up. Be careful. Not everyone in your family has your best interest at heart. My stomach dropped like a stone. The account had no profile picture, no posts, nothing to trace. I stared at the words, reading them over and over, Naomi's soft voice echoing in my head from our recent talks. Was this about her? Or worse, from her? My hand shook as I tried to reply, but the account blocked me right away. Who sent it? A friend? Aaron trying to warn me? Or Naomi herself, testing if I'd suspect her? The message burned in my mind, linking back to her slips, her questions, that old college betrayal. I paced my apartment, heart pounding, wondering if I should confront her. But no, not yet. I needed more proof. The warning felt like a whisper in the dark, pulling me deeper into doubt. If it was about her, what truth was so bad it needed hiding? And if it was from her, what game was she playing? Either way, I couldn't ignore it anymore. That night, I couldn't sleep, my mind racing from the anonymous message and Naomi's slips. She had crashed on my couch after our talk, claiming she was too tired to drive home. I waited until her breathing steadied, then tiptoed into the living room where she had left her purse on the coffee table. My heart pounded as I reached for it, against my better judgment, but I had to know. The zipper sounded too loud in the quiet room, but she didn't stir. Inside, amid lip gloss and keys, was a folded piece of paper with my name scrawled on it in her messy handwriting. My hands shook as I unfolded it, expecting some confession. But it was just an old receipt from a coffee shop, with notes scribbled on the back, numbers that looked like dates, amounts in dollars, and my stomach twisted, my ex-boyfriend Aaron's initials next to one of them. What was this? A list? A plan? Why track him, unless she was involved somehow? I snapped a photo with my phone and put it back, slipping away quietly. But the question burned, why would she be keeping track of him? This wasn't sisterly care, it felt like something sinister. The next morning, I told myself I was being paranoid as I made coffee, the receipt's image still fresh on my phone. Sisters borrow things, snoop around, and meddle all the time. It's what family does, right? But when Naomi woke up and joined me in the kitchen, her casual questions hit different. Hey, whatever happened to Aaron? You ever talk to him anymore? What's he up to these days? She asked, stirring her mug like it was no big deal. I felt sick, my spoon clinking too loud against the cup. She already knew too much. Her eyes lit up a bit when I shrugged it off. How did she know his schedule, or that we'd broken up over his late nights? Her fake concern now felt like surveillance, like she was gathering intel for some hidden reason. I forced a smile, changing the subject, but inside, pieces clicked. The college betrayal, the slips, the notes, it all pointed one way. And I realized she might have been involved with him. Maybe even the reason for our split. The thought twisted like a knife, but I kept quiet, watching her sip her coffee innocently. That weekend, I ran into my ex, Aaron, at the grocery store near my apartment. He was in the produce aisle, picking apples, and froze when he saw me. Clara, he said, shifting from foot to foot like a kid caught sneaking cookies. He looked awkward, his face turning red. So, Naomi told me about your breakup, he added casually, as if it were normal small talk. My throat tightened like a noose. Naomi told him? Why was she even talking to him? We hadn't spoken in months since our split, and now my sister was chatting with him about my life? I gripped my shopping cart, forcing a polite nod. Yeah, it's been rough, I muttered, scanning for an escape. He scratched his neck, avoiding my eyes. She mentioned you might need someone to talk to. The words hung there, slimy and wrong. Why would Naomi send him my way? My mind flashed to her notes, her questions. This wasn't random. He said one more thing that nearly stopped my heart. Naomi and we've been catching up a lot lately. Aaron leaned closer in the aisle, glancing around like we were sharing state secrets. Look, I don't want to be dragged into this, but you should know Naomi and I. He trailed off, rubbing his hands together, clearly uncomfortable. My stomach churned like I'd swallowed sour milk. He didn't have to finish the sentence. I knew exactly what he was implying. My sister had been with him behind my back, maybe even while we were still together. The pieces slammed into place. Her college betrayal with Jake, the notes in her purse with Aaron's initials, her fake concern digging into my life. How long? I whispered, my voice barely holding. He shrugged, looking guilty. A few months. It just happened. I stepped back, the fluorescent lights buzzing louder in my head. But as he mumbled an apology and hurried away, something told me this wasn't the whole secret. If it was just an affair, why the notebook with dates and money? Why the anonymous warning? Naomi was hiding more than a fling. This went deeper, and I had to uncover it before it buried me. When I confronted Naomi that evening, I didn't hold back. I showed her the photo of the receipt with Aaron's initials, my voice steady but sharp. What is this? Why are you tracking him? Her face crumpled, and she burst into tears, loud, dramatic sobs that echoed through the apartment like a bad soap opera scene. She clutched her chest, gasping. I just wanted to protect you, Clara. He was bad for you, so I stepped in. Protect me? By sleeping with him? The words boiled inside me, but I stayed silent, watching her performance. She clung to my arm, insisting she cared, that it was a mistake born from love. But her tears felt rehearsed, like she'd practiced in a mirror. I stared at her, cold and unmoving, waiting for the crack. Then, mid-sob, she slipped again. You don't understand how hard it's been, keeping this from Mom too. Mom? What did she have to do with it? Her eyes widened as she realized the mistake, wiping her face quickly. But it was too late. The words hung there, a loose thread in her web of lies. Naomi admitted she'd been seeing Aaron just once or twice, trying to make it sound casual, like borrowing a book. It wasn't serious, Clara. I thought if I distracted him, he'd leave you alone. Her voice cracked, but her eyes darted, still hiding. I pressed harder. That's not all. What's the rest? She shook her head, grabbing her bag. You don't need to know more. It'll only hurt you. Hurt me? She'd already stabbed me in the back, which only made me desperate to know more. I couldn't let her control the story. I followed her to the door, demanding answers, but she slipped out, mumbling about needing space. Alone in the apartment, my mind raced. If it was just an affair, why the notebook with dates and money? Why mention Mom? The anonymous message echoed. Be careful. I sat on the couch, piecing it together like a puzzle with missing edges. Naomi wasn't just betraying me with Aaron. There was a bigger truth, something tying it all. I grabbed my phone, searching her name online, digging deeper. Whatever she was hiding, I'd pull it into the light. I spent hours combing through Naomi's social media that night, my laptop screen glowing in the dark like a detective's lamp in an old movie. Most posts looked normal. Coffee shots with filters, sunsets over Ohio fields, mirror selfies and outfits she'd borrowed from me. But one caught my eye, a photo from 6 months ago, her at a cafe, smiling wide. In the background, blurry but unmistakable, was Aaron's jacket hanging on a chair behind her. He'd been there, hidden just out of frame. The date stamped on the post was during the time I was still with him, when he'd canceled dates claiming work emergencies. My hands clenched the mouse. She hadn't just seen him once or twice. She'd been hiding him in plain sight, posting clues like breadcrumbs for a fool. Anger boiled up, hot and sharp. The betrayal cut deeper than I realized, slicing through years of sisterly trust. How long had this been going on? And why the notebook with money notes? This wasn't just an affair, it was a web, and I was tangled in it. Naomi came over again the next day, all smiles and laughter, as if our confrontation never happened. She breezed into the kitchen, flipping pancakes like we were kids on a Sunday morning. Hey, sis. Thought you'd like some breakfast therapy, she said, humming a tune while pouring batter. Her performance was flawless, almost convincing. Eyes bright, voice light, no sign of the tears from before. But I kept staring at her, wondering how much of her caring sister act had been fake all along. Every flip of the spatula felt like a cover-up. We ate at the table, her chatting about work drama, but my mind raced over the photo, the notes, Erin's whisper. Then, her phone buzzed on the counter. She glanced at it quickly, but I caught the name flashing, not Erin, but someone else, Mike. She silenced it fast, smiling wider. Just spam, she lied. My fork paused midair. Who was Mike? Another secret? The invitation to trust her crumbled. And then, her phone buzzed again with a name I recognized, our mom's old friend. Why him? Naomi's phone buzzed again on the table, right after she flipped the last pancake. She glanced at it casually, but I caught the screen lighting up. Can't wait to see you tonight. Don't tell her. My chest tightened like a vice grip. The sender's name wasn't Erin, it was Mike, someone I didn't recognize. She snatched the phone fast, laughing it off as just a work thing, but her fingers trembled as she shoved it in her pocket. The implication hit me like a cold wave. She was hiding more than one relationship. First Erin, now this Mike? Her, caring, act crumbled further in my mind. How many guys was she juggling, and why this secrecy about her? Was that me? I forced a bite of pancake, tasting nothing, while she chattered on about weekend plans. But inside, questions swirled like a storm. How many secrets was she keeping? Affairs, lies, maybe more? I smiled through it, but my trust shattered completely. This wasn't just betrayal, it was a pattern, and I needed to uncover how deep it went before it swallowed me whole. I started tailing Naomi discreetly the next day, my heart pounding like a drum in my chest. After she left work at her temp job downtown, she didn't head home like she said. She drove across town to a quiet cafe I'd never heard of. I parked a block away, slouched in my car with sunglasses on, feeling like a spy in a bad thriller. Through the window, I watched her sit at a corner table, fidgeting until a man in a sharp suit arrived. He looked older, maybe 40s, with slick hair and a briefcase. They hugged like lovers, close and quick, then whispered urgently, heads bent together. My breath caught when he slid a thick envelope across the table. She tucked it into her bag, without opening it. This wasn't just romance. It looked like business, shady and secretive. What was in that envelope? Money? Papers? My mind raced with possibilities. She laughed at something he said, but her eyes scanned the room nervously. As they parted with another hug, I sank lower in my seat. What kind of business was my sister into? And how did I fit into it? That night, curiosity overwhelmed me like a tide I couldn't fight. Naomi had left her bag in the living room again, slung over the couch like she owned the place. I waited until she was asleep in the guest room, then crept in, my pulse thumping in my ears. The zipper whispered open, and I rummaged carefully. Wallet, keys, makeup. Then, my fingers brushed a notebook, thin and worn. I pulled it out, flipping pages under my phone's dim light. Scribbles filled it. Names I didn't know, amounts in dollars next to them. Arrows connecting like a web. Dates matched our talks, some with question marks. My breath caught when I saw my name, circled in red, with arrows pointing to numbers. My salary? Savings? And next to it, Erin's name linked to Mike's. What was this, a ledger? A plan? My hands shook as I photographed pages, stuffing it back before she stirred. This wasn't just affairs. It was calculated, like a spider's trap. What did Naomi need from me? The shocking discovery left me wide awake, staring at the ceiling, piecing together her game. I realized Naomi's caring routine wasn't about comforting me at all. It was about extracting information, like a thief casing a house. Every question about my income, my savings, my contacts at work, it all clicked now. She was using me as a piece in some bigger game, maybe to scam or leverage. The notebook proved it. My details arrowed to others, like I was a target or a tool. Those hugs felt slimy in hindsight. Every "are you okay?" a mask to dig deeper. Even our college days fit. Her helping then had landed her my ex, like practice for this. I paced the kitchen at dawn, coffee going cold, connecting the dots. The anonymous message, the slips, the men, it wasn't random betrayal. It was a scheme. And I realized she might not even see me as family anymore, just opportunity. Every phone call, every visit had been calculated, her charm a weapon. My skin crawled. This changed everything. I wasn't safe anymore, not with her knowing my routines, my vulnerabilities. I had to act before she pulled whatever trigger she had planned. I finally confronted Naomi in my living room, laying out everything like evidence in a courtroom. The text from Mike, the cafe meeting with the suit guy, the notebook full of names and numbers. "What is this, Naomi? What game are you playing?" Her face went pale as milk, then twisted into fury. She paced like a caged animal, eyes wild. "You don't understand, Clara," she hissed, her voice dropping low and sharp, like a knife edge. "You've always been the perfect one, the steady sister. But if you knew the truth, the real truth about why I've been doing all this, you'd never look at me the same." Her words hung heavy, laced with something raw, almost scared. I stood there, arms crossed, staring her down. For once, her charm cracked wide open. No fake tears to hide behind. She grabbed her coat and stormed toward the door, muttering, "Just stay out of it." But as she left, slamming it behind her, doubt crept in. And for the first time, I believed her. The truth might shatter more than just us. For days, Naomi avoided me like I was poison, ignoring my calls and texts, her silence louder than any fight we'd had. I paced my apartment, piecing together more clues from her notebook photos, my mind spinning with worst-case scenarios. Was she scamming people? Using me? The anonymous message echoed, "Be careful." Work blurred by in a haze, my marketing meetings forgotten as I obsessed. Then one night, a knock rattled my door around midnight. I peeked through the peephole. Naomi, shaking like a leaf, eyes red and swollen from crying. She looked smaller, broken. I opened it slowly, heart thudding in my chest. "You already know too much," she whispered, stepping inside without waiting for an invite. "I can't keep pretending anymore. It's eating me alive." Her voice cracked, hands twisting together. I let her in, closing the door softly, the air thick with tension. She collapsed on the couch, burying her face in her hands. My pulse raced. What truth could be this bad? She was ready to confess, and I braced myself for whatever storm was coming. Naomi sat on my couch, staring at her hands like they held the weight of the world. "It wasn't just Aaron. It wasn't just the other guy," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've been living a double life. I've been scamming people. And I was going to use you, too." Her words hit like a punch to the gut, knocking the air out of me. "Scamming? My sister, the one I'd bailed out of jams since we were kids?" She explained how it started small, fake online sales, then bigger cons with fake identities. Aaron had pulled her in, introducing her to the ring, and Mike was her partner in the latest scheme. "I thought you'd never find out," she whispered, tears streaming. "I needed your info, your job contacts, your savings, to make it look legit." I sat frozen, piecing it together. The questions, the notebook, all leading here. She was going to drag me into her mess, use my clean life as cover. Her voice cracked as she looked up, begging for understanding. But there was one more detail that crushed me. She wasn't done confessing yet. Naomi admitted she had already stolen from me, her words tumbling out like rocks in an avalanche. Months ago, she'd taken my bank card when I thought I'd lost it during one of her visits. She drained over $5,000 in small withdrawals, covering it up by making tiny deposits later, so I wouldn't notice right away, blaming it on bank errors if I ever questioned. My mouth went dry, like sandpaper, as I stared at her. My own sister had robbed me, dipping into the savings I'd built from years of steady work. "I needed the cash to pay off a debt in the ring," she whispered, avoiding my eyes. "Aaron said it was temporary. I'd pay you back." Temporary? That money was for my future, scraped together while she flitted through life. The betrayal burned hotter than the affairs. This was calculated theft, using my trust like a key to my wallet. She sobbed harder, clutching a pillow, but I felt numb, the room spinning. my own flesh and blood, turning me into a mark. And she wasn't even finished. There was more to her confession, something darker lurking in her eyes. Through sobs that shook her whole body, Naomi revealed the full truth. "I've joined an online fraud ring," she whispered, her face buried in her hands. "It started with small stuff, fake profiles, tricking people out of money. Aaron pulled me in. He was already deep in it when we started seeing each other." My stomach twisted like a knot. Aaron, the man I once loved, part of a scam ring? She explained how they targeted marks through social media, stealing info for bigger cons. "I used your stability as my safety net," she admitted, eyes pleading. "Your job, your clean record. If things went bad, I planned to drag you in, use your name for loans or accounts. Exploit you further if my schemes collapsed." Her voice broke. "But you were never supposed to find out. I thought I could keep it hidden forever." I sat there, numb, as the pieces fit. The notebook, the men, the questions, all leading to this. She wasn't just a thief. She was willing to ruin me. And I realized revenge wasn't just an option, it was survival. I couldn't let her walk away unscathed. I contacted the anonymous Instagram account the next morning, my fingers flying over the keys. Send proof. I need to see it all. Hours later, a flood of screenshots came, emails plotting scams, money transfers through fake apps, Naomi's name stamped on everyone. Bank records showed thousands funneled through dummy accounts, Aaron's signature on some, Mike's on others. My hands trembled as I saved them all, evidence stacking like bricks in a wall. Armed with this, I called the authorities, dialing the fraud hotline with a voice steadier than I felt. "I have proof of an online scam ring," I said, forwarding the files anonymously at first. The officer listened, asking sharp questions, and promised an investigation. Power surged through me like electricity. She had played me like a fool, but I was about to flip the game. No more fake hugs or sisterly lies. I'd protect myself, expose her web. As I hung up, a grim satisfaction settled in. The knock on her door would change everything, turning her world upside down just like she tried to do to mine. Police showed up at Naomi's apartment the next morning, their knock sharp and official, echoing down the hallway like Judgment Day. I stood back, hidden in the shadows across the street, watching through my car window as she opened the door. Her face drained of color when they flashed badges and read her rights: fraud, theft, conspiracy. She looked stunned, eyes wide as saucers, mouth hanging open in shock. "This is a mistake," she yelped, but her voice cracked, the charm gone, replaced by raw panic. They cuffed her wrists, the metal clicking like a final lock on her lies. She twisted, spotting me somehow through the chaos, her gaze burning with betrayal etched deep, as if I'd wronged her, not the other way around. But I stood there, steady as a rock, arms crossed, watching without a flinch. For once, she couldn't pretend to care, no fake tears or sisterly hugs to hide behind. The officers let her out, shoving her into the squad car. As the door shut behind her with a thud, I realized the secret was out, and so was she, her web unraveled, my life finally free from her poison. If you enjoyed the story, make sure to like this video, comment, and smash the subscribe button. Also check out other videos on the channel. Feminine Revenge has got more thrilling stories for you.